You're about to tap into the digital marketing strategies that separate thriving law firms from the ones struggling to keep up. Join James Campbell as we break down the roadblocks holding your practice back and reveal the insider tactics attorneys are using to scale past 7 figures. From cutting-edge digital marketing tips to exclusive interviews with industry leaders, we're giving you the playbook to attract higher-quality clients, dominate your market, and build a firm that runs like a growth machine. Your next breakthrough starts now. This is the Marketing Lawcast.
Hi there, and welcome. I'm James Campbell, Chief Growth Officer at Integrity Marketing Solutions, and I'm really glad that you're here and registered and watching today's training. I want to talk about something that hits really close to home for a lot of attorneys, and that's wasting precious hours with leads who were never serious in the first place. And my friends, you know the type. They ask about pricing right away. They tell you they're going to be meeting with other law firms. They're vague, they're unmotivated, they're indecisive, and we have a term for these folks, and it's called the tire kicker. If you ever left one of your consults and thought, why do I keep attracting folks that are the wrong fit? My friends, this session is going to provide you with real answers and show you exactly how to solve that issue, exactly what to do about it. So let's go ahead and jump into today's training. Okay, guys, today I want to show you how to attract the kind of clients who are ready to hire, who respect your time and value your expertise, and how to stop wasting energy on people who never had any intention of working with you in the first place. This is about reclaiming your calendar, your confidence, and your pricing power. If you have any questions during this presentation, just a little housekeeping here, go ahead and drop those into the comments section, and I'm going to do my best to answer them during the Q&A at the conclusion of the presentation. And also, there's also a special offer for those that stay until the end of the webinar. That's going to be to access my download called 12 Rules for Sales Life. It's a sales guide which can really help you build trust and qualify prospects faster and really just confidently close more of the right kind of clients at premium fees. But it's going to help you filter out those tire kickers that we're going to discuss today. And there's a bonus offer for those of you that schedule a call that want to take action to fix this problem. For those of you that talk with my team, we are going to run a marketing audit of your current site and your competitors and kind of see where you stack up in terms of authority and how you're sitting in terms of your brand and your position to attract the right kind of clients and maybe not attract the tire kickers. As part of that call, whether you move forward or just want to get information, whatever the case may be, if you book that call and we run that audit, we're also going to give you access to a training called the Book a Call Strategy. And it's for your staff or for you to use to pre-qualify leads as they either call into the office or book with you, or they come in for that first initial meeting, okay? How do we gauge those people and qualify their commitment? We'll give you that training as well. Okay, so now that we have all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the actual training for today. Let's start with what you may be experiencing. If you're here, you've had some experience with leads that aren't the best fit, and if you have consults that just don't convert, if you have prospects who are endless price shopping, they're just after the cost. They want to know what a trust costs or what a will costs, and they're really adamant about that. Or folks that just no-show for their meetings, they ghost you, or you follow up with folks that just the follow-up goes nowhere. They seem to be just disappearing. And guys, when this happens, it leads to a lot of wasted time, lower close rates, and just team frustration. When you have your team working these leads, especially if you're in a higher volume firm where you do have a successful firm, but you find yourself wasting a lot of time with folks who just don't close or who kick the can down the road. Guys, you're not imagining it. These are all signs that you're attracting the wrong kinds of leads. So why is this happening? It's pretty simple, honestly. Most law firm marketing just isn't built to filter out or attract the right type of leads. If your messaging or your branding or your web presence isn't clearly positioned for the serious buyers, you'll keep getting inquiries from the tire kickers. And guys, today we're going to show you exactly how to fix that, okay? We're going to go through what has to be done to make sure this doesn't happen. But before we do, we have to understand that not all leads are created equal. And in the marketplace, there are essentially 4 types of leads that we're going to be seeing. And what we want to do is start attracting the right ones and not attract the ones that we don't want. And guys, the buyers of those 4 types of leads, the first category is what we call the buyer in pain. And the buyer in pain, they have an urgent need. They're ready to act. They're emotionally invested. They have something that they want to accomplish or something horrible that they want to avoid. They've identified it in and of themselves and have taken necessary steps to start the process of solving it. Then you have your buyers in power. They're interested, but they want control. A lot of times they can be price sensitive, but they do have a need. Those are your potential buyers, your buyers in pain or your buyers in power. The buyers in pain are urgent. Buyers in power are interested. Okay? Then you have your tire kickers, and they're not serious. They're just browsing or they're just collecting information. They want something for free. Okay? And typically price is their barrier, and that's one of the reasons that they're a tire kicker. A lot of times it comes down to personality. Okay? But tire kickers are the ones that are not serious. They're not committed. They just want free information. Then you have your non-customers. Those are the people that we're never going to buy, and they're fairly easy to identify. So if you are an estate planning attorney and someone calls up about family law, they're a non-customer because you don't do divorce work. So pretty easy to identify those folks. But you want to design your marketing, all of your messaging, catering exclusively to, who do you think? The buyers in pain. That's one of the hallmarks we have to get across here. So, who are the tire kickers? Tire kickers are not always easy to spot, but they are if you know the signs, okay? Tire kickers want free advice, okay? They miss opportunities or they cancel appointments at the last minute. They lead with, how much do you charge? They want to know the price right away. And they're also looking for free information. They'll also tell you that they're meeting with everyone, the attorney across the street, the attorney across town. They're getting quotes from multiple law firms. They're essentially looking for the cheapest option, not the best solution. And they will eat up hours and hours of your time without ever paying you a dime or even appreciating the time that you've given them. And that may be one of the most disheartening things is not only do they not pay you, but they don't appreciate the advice or the time that you give them. So what are tire kickers actually costing you? This is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, okay? The time that you could have spent with real paying clients. You can't get those days back. You can't get that consult back. When you spend time with tire kickers, they drain you of your energy, they drain you of your confidence, especially the confidence in your pricing and the value that you bring to the law firm or that you bring to your clients. You'll start questioning, am I charging too much? Can people in my market even afford this? You start questioning whether or not you're able to show value in your meeting. What's wrong? What's happening here? And the other thing is that team morale can really take a nosedive when everybody's frustrated with dead-end calls or people that aren't committed or that don't take this process seriously. And ultimately, the biggest cost is your growth because you cannot scale when your pipeline is clogged with the wrong people. It's impossible to do. So this can be extraordinarily difficult for the solo attorney when you only have so many meetings and they're stacked with tire kickers, but it can also be extraordinarily frustrating for the larger law firm where they're having a higher volume and maybe paying for leads through ads and attracting tire kickers there. Then the costs get exponentially higher. So these tire kickers can really take a toll on your practice, on your revenue, on your growth, on your confidence. and just your ability to move forward. I just want to share a quick story here. It's very important. I think if you've seen some of the videos and some of the photographs here in the presentation, I use this fishing metaphor, but I want to tell a quick story. My dad is a lifelong fisherman, the kind of guy that wakes up before sunrise and ties his own flies. He knows the difference between feeding a ripple and a rising trout, okay? Growing up, I spent countless mornings beside him on the water, learning the patience and the precision it takes to catch trout, especially rainbow trout, which is like our favorite, right? Now that I'm passing that information on to my son, you can see us fly fishing here in this picture. And my friends, he is hooked, no pun intended, all right? But here's what we've learned together. Trout are not easy to catch. They're selective. They prefer specific waters. They prefer specific bait. And at just the right time of day, different bait at different time of day. You can't just toss a line anywhere and hope for the best. And one day, after we'd been out fishing for a while with no bites, my son looked up at me and asked, "Are there even any trout in this lake, Dad? Do we even have trout in this lake?" And at that moment, it kind of hit me, because that's exactly what so many law firms are asking about their own marketing. And the truth is, yes, the trout are out there, but most firms are just fishing with carp lures. They're using the wrong message. They're casting into the wrong waters, and they're wondering why they only attract the bottom feeders. Okay. The good news is that you can, when you learn what trout really bite on, when you learn how to refine your message and place it in the right waters, my friends, things change. You stop chasing prospects and start attracting the right people that are ready to hire you. So what attracts tire kickers? What are the things that are attracting the carp? Right? Why are you bringing in the bottom feeders or people that are not serious, that are not ready to hire right away and are eager to write that check and pay for their estate plan? Well, let me start by talking about what's attracting the wrong crowd. Okay, the first would be DIY stuff, whether it's your DIY branding, your DIY website. When things look do-it-yourself, when things look cheap, okay, people are going to be expecting you to be cheap, okay? So that looks attractive to somebody that wants the cheapest option, right? If you have no reviews or a poor Google profile or bad reviews, that can lead to you looking desperate. And if an attorney looks desperate, they can be manipulated or negotiated with, okay? So the person that wants to, work down the price, okay, to negotiate down the price or to try to get something for free, they're going to be attracted to somebody that looks desperate, okay? If you have too many practice areas, this kind of plays into that same line of thinking. It signals that you're not specialized. So if you do estate planning, elder law, family law, personal injury, okay, DUI, criminal defense, if you do all of those things and are wanting to get the best estate planning clients to hire you, it's not going to happen. Okay? It's not going to happen. You look again desperate. If you have your pricing posted onto your website, it's an indication to say, hey, contact me about pricing. If you're interested in knowing the price and less concerned about solving your problem, contact me. Pricing language that screams discount, okay? It says, I'm negotiable. It's like putting out onto Facebook Marketplace. We do wills, for, $5.99 or best offer. Like, we don't want to do that. The other thing is education-based content. If all of your content is focused on educating your prospect, listing off the services that you provide, educating them on what the trust is, sort of being the Wikipedia of estate planning on your website, giving away as much free information as you possibly can. Guys, giving away free information, free stuff is attractive to people who want free things, want things for free. Are you tracking me here? So when we lead with just information, when we say, hey, we're the legal dispensary here, get all of your free legal information from us, The people that just want free advice and aren't concerned about solving their problem, they're going to contact you because they think they can get something for free. So these are the types of things that really draws in the tire kickers. So evaluate your marketing and see, are you doing any of these things that may be attracting the bottom feeders, the carp, the tire kickers? Now let's talk about the clients that you want. Let's meet the buyer in pain. Remember, the buyer in pain is somebody that has an urgent need. They are ready to act. There's somebody that may be in crisis or they may be in transition. Some sort of life event has happened and they recognize it and they need help. These are people that need clarity. They appreciate expertise. In fact, that's the one thing that they're looking for. They don't want the cheapest attorney. They want the expert who they can have confidence in is going to actually solve the problem, not just sell them the cheapest document. These are the folks that want a guide, okay? They want somebody to guide them, a trusted advisor, to help them ensure that they get the outcome that they want and avoid the problems or the pain that they see in the future, okay? These are the people that are ready to say, I trust you, let's move forward. These are buyers in pain, and they're out there right now looking for someone like you. They're resourceful and they find ways to pay regardless of the size of their bank account. So when the issue and the value is high enough for these buyers in pain, they become resourceful and they will find ways to solve the issue. And these are the folks that we want to attract, okay? But what attracts these high intent buyers in pain? What are the things that attract them? Well, the first thing is authority. You have to look like the expert. You have to be the authority. And how do we become the authority in the eyes of the prospect? Well, first off, lots of strong Google reviews. If we have the most reviews and they're all 5-star, that adds a lot to it. So we better be working really hard and be super intentional about how we gather reviews, how we respond to reviews. Are we putting keywords into those reviews? Are we making that part of our process because that's where the money is? Are we putting value and intentionality into how we gather and respond to reviews? Authority is important. Along with authority comes specialization. So clear niche marketing. If you focus on estate planning, it's not enough to say you just do estate planning. Estate planning for whom? What person? What stage of life? What are they going through? What emotions are they feeling? You've got to niche it down. You've got to focus on problem solving, messaging that says, we help families navigate difficult moments. What are those difficult moments? We have to get specific. There also has to be a personal connection, a reason beyond just the fact that you're an attorney. People have to feel like they can trust you. And people, I have a little limerick here, okay? People trust people they like, okay? People like themselves, okay? So how do we relate to the prospect? How do we get some sort of personal connection so that we can build trust? Well, you've got to see that the prospect has to see you, not just stock images. They need to have a video of you explaining how you help them, giving them assurance that working with you is going to be wonderful. We all talk about peace of mind in estate planning. Well, how about you start providing some peace of mind before they sign their documents? Give them some of that peace of mind before they have to pay you, okay? Also, have a strategic presence when it comes to your marketing. Look like you know what you're doing. Don't look cheap. Look like you put the effort in and you take this serious. A strategic presence, that means you have to show up where they're already searching. You have to be in the map pack. You have to be in the top of Google. You have to be consistent on social media. This is how you build trust before they ever call you. These are the types of things that attract the buyers in pain. So what's this look like practically? Guys, serious clients want a serious first impression. That means your website and your digital assets are super, super important. So your website's got to be fast, it's got to be mobile friendly, and it's got to be designed to convert. What do we mean by designed to convert? We mean not just stating what you do, but more focused on who you serve and what problems you solve. Catering, okay? Catering directly to the buyer in pain. The messaging needs to speak directly into their issues. This is what's going to help start build trust, okay? So your content, your high trust content, that's going to be your blog content, your video content, any frequently asked questions, and those reviews. And those reviews are going to come from a polished Google business profile. So the places that these high intent leads are touching, you have to look like the best. If you are the expert, you have to look the part. So that Google business profile has to be polished. I mean, high quality images. Things need to be filled out properly, right? You need to have a system for gaining those 5-star reviews. This is your digital handshake, so to speak. And it has to say, I'm the expert you've been looking for. Thank God you found me. Good for you. Okay? That's the impression that we have to make when it comes to our digital presence. Guys, 84% of all internet searches, all buying decisions start with an internet search. So 84% of all purchases online, they start with the internet search. They go to Google first. People are evaluating these decisions. Okay? Let's move into a real world example here. I want to talk about one of our clients that implemented the exact system that I've been describing during this presentation. Amy hired IMS in 2024 to manage her online marketing, her website, and her SEO. And we worked very closely with her and her staff, one of our people, her guy named Nico, he's awesome there, to ensure that her marketing is tracked and productive. And her firm increased revenue by over 20% in 1 year. That's over $100,000 in revenue, additional revenue for Amy that just came from adjusting the marketing to cater to the buyer in pain. Amy meets with her performance coach every month to review her data, to look over the results, and make a plan for the next month. She has a strategy to meet her 2025 goals, and she has an accountability partner with her team and with our team to help make it happen, a strategy to help bring that to fruition. And this growth comes from a calendar that is consistently booked with qualified buyers in pain, because those are the only folks that we're talking to. We're making the attempt in our online presence to speak specifically into the issues that Amy solves for those buyers in pain. And just how's this look in practicality? Well, I just pulled one example from the website. Okay. So instead of Amy just listing off, hey, here's all the stuff that I do estate planning, I do special needs, I do elder law, I do probate. She frames things a little bit different. And she says on her website, does any of this sound familiar to you? I'm worried about the excessive costs of healthcare and long-term care. I want to avoid court and I want to attain peace of mind. I want me and my family to be prepared to have a solid plan. When we start framing things in a little bit different light, we start seeing how things can really change for a law firm when the right people start coming through. And just to drive this message home a little bit further, I have a quick video I'm going to play here of Amy where she talks specifically about this issue. Let's give this a listen. What could you say changed in your practice over the last year since partnering with us? Is it visibility, client quality, growth? Kind of outline what changes you've seen.
So definitely financial growth of 20% of revenue and gross revenue immediately, like in the last year. I have my own internal financial monitoring and we saw that immediately. So that's pretty concrete. And then when I dived into the reasons why, I think it's because with the marketing, we increased the exposure And it's really funny to me because with just even last year, I had a marketing company work on my social media engagement, and I had a lot of exposure. People were coming to me, they like my posts. They're like, oh, your son is so cute, and a lot of social media engagement, but not a lot of conversion. And that last year I worked with IMS, we didn't actually do a lot of none of that social media engagement, yet our revenue went up 20%. And so I was looking at, okay, and we were, Amber and I were looking at the dashboard. Okay, what was the reason? Is because we added that, something you did on my website, and we increased that intake phone call. The more people are booking the 15-minute phone calls. And so Nico, my assistant, all these 15-minute phone calls just pop up on his calendar. All he had to do was simply call those people. They just pop up. And whereas previously he would have to manually, painstakingly call people, cold calling people. Whereas over the last year, we've seen those calls just come in without us having to do anything. Yeah. So definitely.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I'll give a little bit of insight because our viewers or listeners might think, well, how the heck does that happen? Right? Well, if the exposure, if the social media engagement was not as robust as these other campaigns, but the conversions were extraordinarily higher, why is that? And I'll give a little bit of insight. One is having a client like Amy who understands their avatar. Who are the people that they work with? Who are the best clients? And what problems does my firm solve for those clients? And then having the ability to communicate that to the marketing team. So for us to understand that's the information that we need to have to reach what I would call the buyers in pain, or the high intent leads, people that want help solving a problem, not just want free information. So the marketing efforts and the strategies you put in place on the internet cater to those buyers in pain. So that's who we're going to have more of. So I'm glad that you've seen that, and it reflects in the revenue, just the ease of more people getting booked that are qualified, right? And then less time spent following up people, so more efficiency. Guys, this is what we do every day at IMS. We help estate planning and elder law firms build a better marketing system that filters out tire kickers, design a website that positions you as the authority and converts people and helps them be excited about the opportunity to meet with the real expert and get their problem solved. We optimize your Google presence, your rankings, your Google business profile, your reviews, all to help build authority and help the buyers in pain realize that you are the best solution. We also help you tell your story with video. So to connect with those folks, to build that connection, to start that trust process ahead of them hiring you, to make you the obvious choice for them. And then we coach your team on sales, on follow through, on additional campaigns that you may need to run for email or for follow up with prospects. Everything we need to help you not only just get leads, but help you get the right leads and close them, and to track everything. What gets measured is what gets done. And the great thing about the internet and having all of this under one roof is that we can track everything. Where folks come from social, from Google, from an ad, we will know. We'll know what it costs. We'll know what your cost per lead is, what your cost per consult is, and then ultimately what your client acquisition cost is. So you'll know that for every $200 you put into the system, you get a client, or whatever that number is. You'll be able to know exactly what your acquisition cost is. That's one of the wonderful things about digital marketing. Okay, so here's what I want for you. Okay, I want you to catch your limit, essentially. Okay, no more wasted time with the wrong prospects. No more price shoppers who don't respect your value. No more ghosted meetings of people who just aren't serious. We want to create a steady flow of serious, high-intent clients who trust you and are ready to hire you. And guys, this isn't just possible. It's happening for our clients right now, and it can happen for you too. So what's the next step? Well, the best thing to do is to book a discovery call with my team. And it's going to include this complimentary marketing audit just for the folks here that attend the webinar. We're going to look at where your leads are coming from, what might be attracting the tire kickers, and how to reposition your brand to start bringing in better clients quickly. Okay, we'll also we'll also audit your authority with Google, let you know how you stack up against your competitors and what can be done to position your firm to lure in more of those buyers in pain. And on that same note about the buyers in pain, I have a resource that I want to share with you that I want you to use to improve your sales performance and sort of quickly filter through those tire quick kickers, to be able to filter out the tire kickers from the buyers in pain. And it's called the 12 Rules for Sales Life. And this is sort of like a cheat sheet, okay? It'll help you and your staff bring clarity to your intake calls, to your sales meetings, and ensure that you consistently work with clients that appreciate your help and value your expertise, and that they're willing to pay for the value that they receive. So click on the link in the chat over here, or you can go to imsrocks.com/apply to book your meeting and allow our team to begin starting your audit and kind of scraping things and seeing where you stack up. Let's start by attracting the kind of clients who are worth your time. All right. Now, thank you guys for attending today. I will try to shut down this screen here and we will get into the Q&A. So if you have questions, comments, go ahead and put them into the chat and we'll get into answering those right now. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that presentation. We have a couple of chats over here. So I have a couple private ones and one from Diane here. Diane says, you're meeting with a buyer in pain who wants to engage your services. When might it be a good idea to slightly discount the package that they need? Diane, I'd save that as a last resort. I think there's better ways to overcome objections to pricing. And a lot of times it's just reframing statements. If you go through that book a call training, I know Rudy has put folks through that before, but that's a good refresher. In that training, there is a section on overcoming objections, and a reframing statement is really the best thing. So typically people, when it comes to a discount, people are going to ask for a discount. You also have the ability to provide a discount. I don't like spur of the moment discounts. So I like thinking of that stuff ahead of time. So especially in estate planning. Okay. So for example, I think your all's trust run around 6,500 or so. You might bake into your offer a $500 or a 10% discount for people that pay in full. Okay. Versus split pay, versus paying half now and half later. So maybe offer that as a payment option to get that discount if they need that, right? So it's sort of like you don't just give it away, it's a trade. Somehow there's got to be a trade in value there. Otherwise, it just seems like you're overpricing your services, okay? There's always has to be a trade when it comes to the discount, okay? And hopefully that's helpful. April put the link in there. Okay, in the private chat, it says, what about webinars? Yeah, webinar is a great way. I mean, obviously, when you create a webinar, I say obviously, maybe I shouldn't say that. Because a lot of folks, when they create their webinar or their masterclass, they tend to try to take what they've done in a live seminar and replicate that somehow online. It's really not that used to be a great idea back in like 2019, 2020, when we were all shut down and like locked in our homes. People absorbed long form content all the time. Well, that's gone away. And people are looking at the shorts on YouTube, or they're watching the reels on Facebook, and they're just scrolling through. Their thumbs are sore, right, from scrolling through so many videos, because their attention span is a lot shorter. So when we create the webinar, in alignment with what we talked about today, we want to create it for the buyers in pain. So we really have to hammer in on what the primary issues are. Now we can hit 3 or 4 issues in that webinar, maybe 5, right? In that webinar, different issues for different buyers in pain, which is great because some people are going to have multiple issues for sure. But either way, that gives us 5 different audiences, 5 different issues we can advertise through Facebook that all lead to one webinar. And so the idea is only buyers in pain are going to watch that webinar, right? That's the only folks we're going to advertise it to. When we start advertising a webinar as like free estate planning webinar, everything you need to know about living trusts, right? We might get some people who are ready to buy a living trust, but they're not looking for the same things as the people that are going, ooh, maybe I can get a free steak dinner out of that. And I can get some free information about that living trust. I can maybe take the notes back and plug it into Chat GPT and get my own documents drafted. I'll go to that. That's a great idea. You're going to get those kinds of people, right, that come to your webinar or that come to your live event when you advertise it that way. We're going to attract the tire kickers. But if we talk about things like caring for an aging parent, come learn how to find relief, right? Like that, people that click on that, like we definitely want to talk with those folks, right? But that message is not going to attract the tire kicker, as an example. Okay, so for your question about webinars, absolutely, that's a great idea. We do help soup to nuts with that. So from the outline and planning of who the avatars are and what the issues are for those people, to the script development, the presentation, the recording, the advertising, the ad set, the management of those ads, and helping with the conversion and keeping track of what the numbers are. So soup to nuts, we do help you with your webinar. And that's a great stack, if you especially if you have the online authority first. It can be very expensive to be running ads for a webinar or Google or anything else. If you don't have that online authority, your cost per lead and your cost per conversion, everything's going to be much more expensive. It will still work. It'll still provide you a result, but you're going to be paying through the nose for that result. So just keep that in mind. Don't put the cart before the horse when it comes to your advertising. Any more questions, guys? That's the only questions I saw in this training. And, you know, for those of you that attended, I know that you only attend because you've had some frustration with these tire kickers before. And, you know, I still deal with it too, right? We get tire kickers, even though we advertise exclusively to the buyer in pain, right? The trick is being able to filter those folks out and recognize what questions they're not willing to answer and then get them out of the pipeline, right? And to recognize that the buyers in pain, they're going to answer all of those questions because they want the result. They want the result more than they want the information, okay? That's one of the main things to remember about your buyers in pain and sort of how to detect whether they're committed or not. And that's sort of what separates the buyer from the non-buyer. Book your discovery call, talk with my team. We'll run that audit, and we'll also send you, as soon as you book, we'll send you the link to review that book a call training, which is sort of like your screening call. It kind of helps you lay the framework and the foundation to be able to obviously detect who's committed and who's not, and then who kind of makes it through to the attorney. And then it also helps that, I call them the director of first impressions, whoever's answering your phones for you. It helps them sort of make a really good assist, like their passes on point when they hand that over to the attorney. If they already have the prospect thinking and in the train of thought of how I'm going to get this thing solved and what I can do to get myself the best result. And that's showing up honest and ready to commit with the attorney. So a lot is kind of writing on that first impression with your reception person or director of first impression. So grab that training. It can be monumental. There's a couple of firms on this training that I saw that have gone through that training, and that has been one of the monumentous things for them, is adding that discovery call and having a sales process for how you field that and make the assist to the attorney. So grab those resources, and hopefully this was a good training for everybody. Appreciate all the votes that stayed, and appreciate your time. Like I said, I'll leave this open for another 30 seconds or so. So any other questions, put those in there. Otherwise, we'll shut it down and say, have a great and wonderful rest of your week and weekend, and book a call. I'll be happy to speak with you. Just sort of talk with my team and let us run that audit. And if we can help, I'm happy to jump on that next call and meet with you and get to know you a little bit more and kind of talk about how our solution might fit into your practice. All right. Thanks a lot. God bless you guys. Have a great day, and appreciate you very much.
That's a wrap on this edition of the Marketing Lawcast. Thanks for joining us. Head over to imsrocks.com. If you're ready to skyrocket your firm's marketing, don't hesitate to book a free strategy call with our team right on our website. Here's to your success.